how's it going, fight fans? Welcome to mindforcombat. If you're new to the channel, my name is Rohan, and in this video I'll be breaking down the upcoming welterweight, non-title, non-main event 5-round fight between Leon Edwards and returning fan favourite Nate Diaz. Now in a way, this is kind of Leon Edwards' return as well. Now don't get me wrong, I know he fought Belal Muhammad in his return fight, but the fight didn't really get to play out. It went to no contest in the end, and I think we need a real fight to play out in the end here so we can see how this fight actually happens. Why Nate Diaz took this fight, I don't know. I don't really understand it, but I'm looking forward to it all the same. It's a great card, headlined by Israel Adesanya and Marvin Vettori. I have a breakdown out for that one as well, so if you haven't checked it out, either check it out when it comes out, or it might already be on my channel by the time you watch this video, so just check out my channel. Anyways, without further ado, let's talk about this fight. So Leon Edwards is the British star who's on an 8-fight win streak. It would have been 9 if the unfortunate circumstances didn't play out in his last fight. He would have definitely beaten Belal Muhammad, but it's unfortunate that it didn't play out that way, because now he's got to get himself back on track, and that's not to take away his win streak, because his win streak is still active, and I don't want to disrespect Belal Muhammad in that way, but it did seem like the fight was going in that direction. The fight with Nate Diaz is a baffling one for me, because firstly for Leon Edwards, I get it, it will draw some extra attention, it will get him some name, it will get him a name on his record, and maybe it's a bit of what he sees as an easy fight, but Nate Diaz is not a ranked commodity. I think he's been looking for that ranked fighter so he can get a title shot, but maybe a win here will get him a title shot anyway. For Nate Diaz is especially weird because Leon Edwards doesn't have the kind of name value that he tends to look for in an opponent. It doesn't look to me like he wants to make a run for a title shot, but maybe that's what he does after this fight. It's a strange one, but it's a fun fight nonetheless, and both guys can win this fight despite what a lot of people are saying. But with that said, let's get into the fight and let's break this one down. Nate Diaz is 36 years old, which makes him 7 years older than the 29-year-old Leon Edwards. Now, Nate Diaz hasn't been incredibly active over the last, 6 years, since 2016, really. He hasn't really been that active. And even before that, he hadn't fought for a year before his fight with, Michael Johnson, hadn't fought for a year before his fight with Rafael dos Anjos. So it's not a fighter who's been very active historically for almost a decade. And he fights Leon Edwards, a guy who's in his prime who hasn't been active either, but he's more physically in his prime. He's there, he's still making a run to the top. Whereas with Nate Diaz, you kind of see him as the twilight of his career. So that's definitely something that bears witnessing. Leon Edwards has a professional record of 18 wins and 3 losses, whereas Nate Diaz is 20 wins and 12 losses. Now, don't let the 12 losses surprise you. Nate Diaz has been in the UFC since he had about 5 or 6 fights, so he's been there for a long time. He's been fighting the very best for a long time. Those losses are to guys like Benson, Henderson, Rafael dos Anjos, Jorge Masvidal, just the best of the best. Gray Maynard when he was in his prime, Rory McDonald up at welterweight, Don Kyung Kim. He's been in there with beast and beat. If you get fighters that fight that level of competition for as long as Nate Diaz has, they're going to have lots of losses on their record. It's not a problem. He's got loads of wins as well. I don't think experience will be a factor in this fight. They both stand at 6 foot tall, but Leon Edwards will enjoy a 2-inch reach advantage with a 76-inch reach. Sorry, Nate Diaz will enjoy a 2-inch reach advantage with a 76-inch reach over Leon Edwards' 74-inch reach. So I think that's going to pay some dividends, especially when you consider the fact that Nate Diaz is going to come out there looking to box, and he's going to want to use his hands. So it's going to be interesting to see how the fight plays out when he starts to establish that boxing, or even if he's able to establish that boxing. To describe their styles, Leon Edwards is a striker. Yes, he can wrestle, he can do it all, but I think where he shines is in his striking, particularly with his distance management. I think he likes to use his range. His kicks are good. He's got good power in his punches. Not a knockout artist, but he carries some consequences in his punches, shall we say. With Nate Diaz, he's a pressure fighter. He likes to rely on his cardio and his boxing, and then if the fight hits the ground, he's got that great BJJ that he likes to rely on, and he feels like he's confident in that to get the win. I think that stands out for me. Let's talk about some of their key wins. Now, for Leon Edwards, obviously he's got wins over the likes of Rafael dos Anjos, Donald Cerrone, older guys later on in their career, but those are good wins. He's beaten Gunnar Nelson. His best wins are the likes of, in my opinion anyway, Vicente Luque and Albert Einstein Tumanov, who ain't with the UFC anymore, but he's an incredible talent who's fighting over in Russia right now. That's a great win streak right there, and he should be proud of himself. Nate Diaz has got a historical resume. Obviously, the wins that will jump out to people's mind is likes of Conor McGregor, Anthony Pettis more recently, but Michael Johnson, when he beat Michael Johnson, was a legitimate top tier, top 5 lightweight in the world. That was a great win for him. He beat Gray Maynard to cap off a trilogy in a way with Gray Maynard, and I think that was a huge win. Then you can go all the way earlier in his career. He's got wins over the likes of Kurt Pellegrino, who was a staple in the UFC for a long time. He beat Jim Miller. these are great fighters. Obviously, he beat Takanori Gomi. These are great fighters that he's got great wins over. Nate Diaz isn't a joke, and he's got a great resume to show for it. The issue that jumps out for me for Leon Edwards is going to be his how's he going to deal with the pressure of Nate Diaz. He's going to be in there with someone who's not going to give him the distance that he likes and he thrives in. So stylistically, this is kind of a tough matchup for him. And for Nate Diaz, I think his strength is going to be an issue here. He's not strong enough physically to impose a threat to Leon Edwards if he wants to start grappling. I think for that basis, the fight will be settled on defeat. The X factor for Leon Edwards is going to be his youth and his strength. The X factor for Nate Diaz is going to be his boxing and his conditioning. And with that said, let's get into the prediction. Now, it's a tough fight to call, but as I said, I don't think that Nate Diaz is strong enough or his wrestling is effective enough for him to be able to take Leon Edwards down. With his inability to take Leon Edwards down, I think what that then comes down to is the stand-up fight, because that's where I think Leon Edwards is going to want to deal with this. I don't think he's going to want to mess around in Nate Diaz's guard. Not to say that I don't think he'll survive in Nate Diaz's guard. I think he's going to want to take the path to least resistance. I think what we're going to see with Leon Edwards is he's going to try to keep distance, he's going to try to move, and he's going to throw a lot of low calf kicks. Nate Diaz has historically always struggled with kicks, both the Diaz brothers have, and it's going to be interesting to see how he deals with this fight. As the fight wears on, I think what we're going to see is that Nate Diaz is going to find some success with his boxing because he's such a tough fighter. I don't think Leon Edwards is going to be able to put him away. I think as we go into the later rounds, he's going to start to have a bit more success, kind of as he started to have a bit more success with Jorge Masvidal. Now, I know the fight got stopped and I know he was getting dominated, but he did start to have some more success. So with that said, he's shown that he can fight a top tier welterweight and have success later on. So I think it'll be a similar scenario, but I think the damage will be already done. I think Leon Edwards secures the first 3 rounds with his size, strength, with his distance management, his footwork and his kicks. As the fight goes on, I think Nate Diaz is going to start to cause him some problems, but I don't think Nate Diaz gets it done. I really hate to say this because Nate Diaz is my favourite fighter of all time and I'm a huge Nate Diaz fan. This isn't the type of fight that he should have been going for. I think if he wants to be fighting now, he should be going for named veterans and then, you know, them fun fights, calling out Conor McGregor, doing stuff like that. Maybe even going back down to lightweight because he is a true lightweight. He's long, but he's a skinny guy. He's got a slim build, so it should be a lightweight. But anyway, just to finish off the video, my official prediction is Leon Edwards for the win, and then hopefully we see Nate Diaz do what's correct and maybe go to lightweight. But a loss here ain't really that big a deal for Nate Diaz. He's a superstar despite 12 losses. One more ain't going to really make that much of a difference. He's still going to sell out crowds. He's still going to gather attention. He's still going to move the needle. He's a very exciting fighter, and this is a very exciting fight. It's one that I'm looking forward to. Should be a lot of fun. Anyways, remember to comment below. Let me know how you see this fight going. Let me know if you're new to the channel. Like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Check out some of my other content. And thank you for watching. I'm Rohan, and this is mindforcombat.